In this video, you'll learn the basics of energy balance, how weight loss actually works, and how to make adjustments to your eating behaviours to help facilitate that weight loss. In order to create an environment for weight loss, it is pretty common knowledge that you need to be in an energy deficit. Simply put, an energy deficit means you are eating less calories than you are burning. When this happens, your body taps into the stored energy and weight loss will occur. Our bodies store most of its energy as adipose tissue or fat tissue and a finite amount as stored glycogen or carbohydrate, mostly in the muscles. The stored glycogen is mostly used for purposeful activities like exercise, and adipose tissue is mostly used for fueling our bodies when we are at rest. The reasons for this are outside the scope of this video, but for the purpose of weight control or weight loss, this is about all you'll need to know. So by eating less food than we use in our daily functions and activities, we will lose weight. Before we cover some recommendations on how to ensure weight loss, it's important to go deeper into how energy balance actually works by examining both sides of the scale. That scale being energy in versus energy out. When energy in is equal to energy out, we are in a state that is known as energy balance, and our weight should remain relatively stable. When energy in is greater than energy out, we are in a positive energy balance, and weight gain will occur. This is also known as being in a caloric surplus. When energy in is lower than energy out, we are in a negative energy balance, and weight loss will occur. This is also known as a calorie deficit. Energy in essentially comes down to what we eat, or how many calories we eat, as calories are the main fuel source for our bodies. The more we eat, the more energy we have to use, and the more positive our energy balance. If we are consuming more calories, energy in, than we are burning, energy out, this will result in weight gain, as the body will store the excess calories. That about covers it for the energy inside of the equation. When it comes to the energy outside, things get a little bit more complicated. There are four main ways our body uses energy, most of which are out of our control. The first being resting metabolic rate. This is essentially the amount of energy our bodies use just to keep us alive. This can be as high as 60 to 80% of our energy in, assuming we are at energy balance. This is out of our control. The second way our body uses energy is the thermic effect of food, which is essentially the digestive cost or the amount of calories burnt in our food being digested. Put simply, around 10% of the calories we consume are burnt in the process of our digestive system turning that energy into fuel it can use. This is also out of our control. The third way our body uses energy is known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is essentially our body's burning energy in our day-to-day activities. These are things like moving around our house or workplace, fidgeting or restlessness, housework and yard work, or other things of this nature. Whilst this is also somewhat out of our control, it tends to play a pretty vital role in weight control or weight loss efforts. NEAT is a bit of a silent assassin when it comes to weight loss or weight control attempts, as it tends to change with energy balance. NEAT tends to increase when we are in a caloric surplus to help us not gain too much weight. So if we eat more calories will be burnt via NEAT. This tends to be done by increasing our restlessness, making us more likely to move around or fidget a lot more. On the flip side, if we are in a caloric deficit, NEAT tends to decrease. So less calories will be burnt via this process. This is usually represented by us feeling more lethargic, making us less likely to be fidgety and less likely to move around the house. The reasons as to why this happens are outside the scope of this video. The basics of it are that our bodies don't like to fluctuate in weight too much and like to stay in a state that is known as homeostasis, which is essentially a comfortable spot. So it tries to offset weight loss or weight gain's attempt to optimize survival. So if we were trying to put ourselves in an energy deficit of 500 calories to induce weight loss, that is, we are consuming 500 calories less in than we have coming out or being burnt, our bodies may downshift on some of our other activities, making us move less, so that our energy out might decrease also. Leveling out our energy in versus energy out, so that 500 calorie deficit might be more like a 200 to 300 calorie deficit. This concept is often misunderstood by those trying to lose weight, and often leads to some pretty drastic countermeasures when weight loss isn't happening at a desired rate, leading to steep calorie restrictions and often getting to a point where we can't sustain our efforts and bounce back to our original weight. I won't go more into this at this point, but just know that having patience and using eating behaviours that you can follow for the foreseeable future play the biggest role in sustainable weight loss. Generally speaking, a good rate of loss that is sustainable is around 1 to 2% of our body weight per week. That brings us to our fourth component of energy out, and that is exercise activity. This being the energy we use in purposeful activities like walking, running, weight training, sports, or other activities of that nature. This is the only part of the energy out component of the equation that we actually have control over. By increasing our purposeful activities, we will burn more calories or energy out. However, it's important to keep it in the frame of our time constraints. There's only so much time in the day, so when choosing an amount of exercise we wish to pursue, We want to keep it in the frame of our lifestyle and our current schedule. Try not to be too ambitious with this, as ultimately we have to choose an amount that we can actually follow in our current lives. There is no point in planning to do 2 hours of exercise a day if we can only spare 30 to 60 minutes a day in our current schedule. At the end of the day, trying to do this will only lead to frustration, a negative relationship with exercise, and ultimately burnout. Besides, it is a lot more realistic to try to manage variables in the energy inside of the equation, that being calories consumed, than it is to try to manage things in the energy outside of the equation, as most of which are out of our control anyway. So to recap, in order to lose weight, we need to be in a negative energy balance or a caloric deficit. So we are consuming less energy in than we are moving out. Energy in comes down to the amount of calories we are consuming, and it's a lot easier to control than energy out. Energy out has 4 main components, most of which are out of our control, and some can change due to the energy in part of the equation. Hopefully by now you have a clearer picture of how energy balance actually works and the factors that come into play when it comes to weight loss. So how do we create an energy deficit? The first place to start is to make sure that our weight loss efforts are both sustainable and realistic. A realistic rate of loss is about 1 to 2% of body weight per week, and a sustainable weight loss intervention will come down to your current schedule, lifestyle, and personal preference. Weight loss can occur by either increasing our activity levels or decreasing the amount of food we eat. To increase your activity levels, a good place to start is to take your current schedule and find time where you can start an exercise routine. This can be as little or as much as you'd like. You can see some pretty decent results from 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, preferably resistance training, 2 to 3 times per week. For more on where to start with exercise, check out our Insider Training series. When it comes to decreasing our caloric intake, it's important to find a means that best suits you. A good place to start is to find out what your maintenance calories are. That is an amount of food you need to consume to neither gain or lose weight. To find out more on this, check out our video on the phasic approach to dieting. Once you know what your maintenance calories are, take about 300 to 500 calories away from it. This new amount will be your new daily intake and will be enough to induce weight loss. It's important not to use too large of a deficit, as usually this is unsustainable and quite uncomfortable. This can also lead to negative psychological effects like isolation, loneliness, and the development of disordered eating behaviours. A pro tip to creating eating behaviours for success is to focus on eating enough protein first and distributing the leftover calories amongst the other macronutrients, fats and carbohydrates to your preference. You should consume somewhere between 1.6 and 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for best results. For more on macronutrients and healthy diet principles, check out our ebook store that is linked in the description. These are just some starting points to help you understand energy balance and weight loss. Before I go, I just want to mention that there are thousands of ways to set up a diet and eating behaviours to help you improve your health and meet your goals, whatever they may be. My advice? Try not to be so rigid. A diet that may have worked for someone else may not be the best fit for you. By far, the biggest factor when it comes to you meeting your goals is finding something that is sustainable for you. Try to view the different strategies out there as different tools for your tool belt. Some tools might not be right for the job, but I guarantee that if you keep at it, you'll find one that is. Don't give up, keep expanding your toolbox and keep learning. But most importantly, keep on enjoying that journey. That's it for now. Happy training.